Testing, testing.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Cool. Let's go.
Whew, what a fucking week.
Yep. Truly.
Actually.
Actually, I'm Alex.
And I'm Emily, and we're back, baby.
Yes, we are back, baby, for 2021. Here we go. But you want it, we got it. We're bringing you the top internet culture stories you need to be in the know.
Let's dive right in. So, I think it's safe to say the first full week of 2021 was a hot ass mess for the United States. A month's worth of things happened in just the first few days. So, we wanted to break it all down for you. So, here's a timeline of what happened between Tuesday, January 5th and Sunday, January 10th.
On Tuesday, January 5th, Georgia had its runoff Senate election. The next day, it was confirmed that Democrats Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff defeated the Republican incumbents, giving Democrats control of the Senate.
January 6th was also the day Congress was supposed to count the electoral votes to confirm Joe Biden's presidential win. Instead, that day was filled with chaos as a mob of terrorists took over the Capitol. It is very important to note these acts of violence were instigated by President Donald Trump. For days, he was tweeting about a protest at the Capitol. He encouraged his supporters to march to the Capitol to show strength, while repeatedly saying the election was flawed, even though all evidence points that it was not. He just lost.
The deadly attempted coup forced senators and representatives to flee as they were certifying Biden's presidential victory. The Trump mob sprayed police officers with chemicals, looted, hung nooses, and literally made it inside the Capitol building, to the Senate chamber, and even inside some of the elected officials' offices. One woman was shot by Capitol Police and later died in the hospital, as did two other men and one woman.
While all of this happened, the police did nothing. Some police officers were seen taking selfies with rioters. Others literally looked the other way as the rioters ran inside the Capitol building. It's also important to note during the countless peaceful Black Lives Matter protests, police were quick to spray tear gas and rubber bullets at demonstrators. And this time, it took hours for them to get the situation under control.
The attempted coup was culmination of massive institutional failures, like the Republican Party embracing Trump's racism, social media platforms allowing him to spread conspiracy theories far and wide, Trump's destruction of trust in government institutions, science, and facts, and a failed police response. When asked why more people weren't arrested, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser said that authorities were reviewing video and would issue wanted notices in the next several days.
During this, Trump was on Twitter defending the mob, saying, quote, "These are things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long." He also released a video on Twitter telling the rioters, quote, "This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're special." These are two of three tweets that made Twitter suspend Trump's account for 12 hours before announcing on Friday that his account had been suspended. Facebook and Instagram also banned him indefinitely, as well as Spotify, Pinterest, YouTube, and more.
On Thursday, January 7th, Congress confirmed Joe Biden's presidential victory, and now people around the country, including elected officials, are asking for Trump to be impeached. To talk a little bit more about what happened in Washington, D.C. this week, we're joined by Jake Henry, digital strategist at All on the Line and D.C. resident. Jake, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for letting me come onto your show.
First, can you explain a little to us about what you do for work?
Yeah, so I work on redistricting. So every 10 years, we redraw district maps. And so All on the Line exists to make sure those lines are drawn fairly. The last time around, they weren't, and they were drawn to pretty much entrench partisan politicians in power. But now we're working to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
So, a lot happened this past week, especially on Wednesday. Where were you when you heard the rioters attack the Capitol?
Yeah, so I was actually at home and I was actually talking to one of my friends because we just keep up with like a lot of what is going on in DC, of course. And since I live about probably a mile or so from Congress, we thought it wasn't even going to be a big deal. We were just like, oh God, like there's going to be protesters today. You know, it is DC as well, so protests happen all the time. So that's not anything new. So when I was just talking to one of my friends about it, it's really scary in hindsight, just thinking how we were sort of just blowing it off and thinking it was going to be just like a joke, pretty much, like another Proud Boys come into DC trying to overturn fair election results. But obviously, it was a lot more intense than that.
Were you scared at all? Because you said about a mile away. Were you worried about like your home or your apartment getting vandalized or just like them coming over on your side of like the street? Like, were you worried at all?
Oh, 100%, because it's like after the protests, where do they go after? Are they staying in hotels? Like where, they're not flying back home that same day. Oh, do they have something else planned the next day? So yeah, especially once I realized, okay, this is really big. This is bigger than I think anyone anticipated. It was just sort of thinking like, are they going to come? Wait, yeah, where are they staying? Do they have anything else planned? Like, is this the end of this, whatever you want to call it, this raid, this attempted overthrow of the U.S. government? Like, what else do they have planned? Because clearly they'll stop at nothing.
Mhm. Do you feel kind of their presence in DC in the days after?
I think I guess to be fair, since we are in a pandemic, I've been like in my apartment and I haven't really like come out unless I need to get some. I think I've only come out probably once actually. Um, so I want to say yes, only because I felt like, so when it happened on like earlier this week on two or it happened a few days ago. And
Yeah,
I
Wednesday.
definitely, yeah, and it definitely just feels like that day has not ended, if that makes sense. Like it almost feels like just one continuous day ever since that event. I'm like, okay, can it be tomorrow already?
Do you think anything could have been done to prevent what happened on Wednesday? I mean, it seemed like the National Guard and Capitol Police should have known because it was pretty much openly being talked about on an app called Parlor that like right-wing conspiracy people kind of go on. So, what do you think it could have been prevented?
Oh, 110%. And like you even just see it in the sense of like now they're putting up fence around the Capitol and now they're increasing all of this police presence. But it kind of is like, well, yeah, it's great to so we can prevent it happening again, which is openly talked on some of these right wing conspiracy sites. But it kind of just shows how when Trump and his sort of mob and his base make real threats like that, they kind of aren't taken seriously. But when other activists or other groups probably talk about just even wanting to protest or fight for something that I believe is more of a righteous fight, they're taken very seriously. Guards are deployed, and it's like maximum alert.
So now, after everything that happened, several people on both spectrums, Democrats and Republicans, and just the public, want President Trump to be impeached. How likely do you think that is to happen?
I feel like it's likely. I feel it's likely that they impeach him but not remove him. And I think the argument, of course, is precedent. It needs to be known that a president just can't, or the next president can't just come in and do something crazy like this in his final weeks of office and think he can just get away, he or she or they can get away with it because, oh, I'm almost out of office. So I do think there needs to be, even if he isn't removed by the Senate, there needs to be just some sort of accountability in the sense of like, hey, the next president going forward, don't think you can get away with this just because you're almost out the door and there's going to be a new president coming in. You will be held accountable in some form.
How likely do you think it is that the people who are in the Senate in Congress who kind of helped make this happen, how likely do you think it is that they'll get removed from their positions?
I want to say, I mean, I don't know, but I guess I want to say it's unlikely in the sense that I do think the focus is on the president, and even then, we're having sort of a hard time holding him accountable, just because of, we don't have we have the Senate, or Democrats have the Senate, the House, and the White House in the next Congress, but just right now, there isn't anything going on. So I worry that they probably will. Some will get away without being held accountable, but I do think, of course, just try to hold many people as possible. Hold as many people accountable as possible.
Mhm. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jake. We really appreciate it, and have a good rest of your day. Stay safe out there in DC.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
You
you
too.
so much.
So, 2020 is off to a rocky start, but Alex, how was your Christmas break? Did anything exciting happen?
I will say before this week, I felt relaxed.
That's
Before this
good.
week, I read my first book of 2021, which one of my resolutions was to read more. So, I mean, it was pretty good up until this week. How about you?
Yeah, this week was freaking wild, but
Mhm.
my break was pretty good. I did nothing. I watched
Mhm.
Bridgerton, obsessed with Bridgerton. I finally finished Queen's Gambit, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I got a middle part.
Yes.
New year,
The
new
middle
me,
part's so good.
and I have a sinus infection, but everything's good. I'm finishing my antibiotics today, so we're chilling.
Good, good. That's a good place to be in. But I mean, we know this was such a rough week for literally everyone. I mean, the
Yeah,
events that took place took such a toll on everyone's mental health. So instead of talking about good stories of the week, we instead asked y'all what you're looking forward to this year in 2021. And you guys sent really good responses. So we're really excited to just
yeah.
read them all. So Kendall said, getting the vaccine.
Woo. Megan Healy said, can I talk? Megan Healy said, Emmys, baby. Woo.
Woo! Sarah said, finishing my first year of law school.
Rosalind Romero said, turning 21.
Ooh. Crystal said, summertime, which I
I
love that.
know.
I'm ready for the clocks to go back. I want it to be lighter
I
later. I
know.
hate
Oh my
this. I
God. I
hate
hate
it.
this too. It's the worst.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Um, a lot of you guys actually talked about the vaccine. Jocelyn Moran
Mhm.
was one of them. She can't wait to get the vaccine this year.
Yes. Michaela said, maintaining boundaries. Hell yeah. I love that.
I love that. Adriana also said getting the vaccine by summer,
Yes. Lily said, graduating from law school and moving to Hawaii. That's
which
awesome.
honestly, like, girl, good for you. That's freaking
Literal. That's
amazing.
absolutely amazing.
Kristen Reba said learning more about myself.
Yes. Ivana said a Trump free Twitter. Amen to
Yes.
that. And a Trump
Amen to
free
that.
Pinterest, Trump free
YouTube,
Spotify.
Facebook, Trump free everything.
Yes, here for it
Um,
all.
Trying to play it cool said growing more as an individual, which is
Yes.
amazing.
I love that. Alexander said, hopefully to be able to get vaccinated, which, yes, I
Yes,
agree.
yes. Eamon said, I'm taking some big next steps in my life, so honestly, every single fucking day of it. And
I love
I
that.
love that. He's been through a lot, so I'm just so excited for you.
Jack said, moving in with my girlfriend this summer, which is me.
I was like, I wonder who that is.
Yeah, like, wait, who's the girlfriend?
Olivia said the 13% raise I got at work and this vaccine.
That
Get it,
is
girl.
awesome. Ashling said, I can't wait to be able to travel. And I'm hoping end of 2021 that is safely possible.
I agree. Even if it's like within the US and like just across
Mhm.
California safely, like that would just be so
Totally.
much
That would be
better.
amazing.
Oriana said getting on some meds.
Yes, love it. And then Trinity said growth, growth, and more growth.
Yes. Alex, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to getting vaccinated, and I hope during the summer I can safely take a trip to San Francisco, probably drive up still. I feel like airplanes will still scare
Yeah.
me, but hopefully drive up safely, get dinner with friends and visit friends up in San Francisco. That's my goal for 2021. How
Oh, I
about
love
you?
that. I think I mean, hopefully everything goes well, knock on wood, and we're able to
Mhm.
get vaccinated and make some trips. I'm looking forward to moving out. I feel like everyone who knows me knows it's my number one goal this year to move out. And yeah, just honestly to move out with my best friend and hopefully get a job in entertainment.
Yes. Well, thank you all. We're excited for hopefully a year of growth and hopefully a year of things getting better politically and in the country.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully, fingers crossed. And this pandemic coming to a
Mhm.
close, just getting better. But at least there was a win this week. Trump is off Twitter,
Yes.
he's off Facebook. We flipped the Senate.
Mhm.
So
I
there
know.
were some victories.
Yeah, we flipped this. I think this was such a historical week in many bad ways, but I mean, we're going to have control of the Senate and the House and the presidency. So I think there's things to look forward to too.
Exactly. But like as always, don't forget to follow us on social. You can please, please, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's What a Week with Alex and Emily. And make sure you subscribe, put the post notifications on, leave a
Yes.
comment, like, do all the things.
And then find us on Instagram at What a Week Show. Find us on Twitter at What a Week. Oh God, What a Week Show underscore.
And we're the same thing on TikTok, What a Week Show underscore.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a great week. Stay safe. Make sure your mental health is good. Meditate. Do whatever you do, whatever you need to do to feel good. And we love you. See you all
Yes.
next week.
Mwah. Love you all.
Bye.